Hello friends, welcome to new video of Microsoft Office tutorials. Friends, in this video we are going to discuss two very simple but very important and useful functions of Microsoft Excel. The functions that we are going to discuss is count function and counter function. As an introduction of these functions, let me tell you that these both functions are used to count number of cells. So let me use these both functions and let me see how these both functions count number of cells and what is difference between these two cells. So here you can see we have here data that we are going to use in this tutorial. Here we have three lists. In first list you can see there are all numbers in first list, and in second list you can see there are some numbers and some alphabets. In third list there are some numbers, there are some alphabets, and there are also some blank cells. So we will use number of cells in all these lists using count and counter function. So I think we should make here a proper table to make it more easy for us to understand. So maybe above here we will write here count function and here below counter function, and here we should write, I think so, name of list. Here is first list, here is second list, and here is what we will do using count function. We will count here number of cells in first list, here number of cells in second list, and here number of cells in third list, and here using counter function we will count number of cells in respective list. So what we will do, we will write here count function, and we will select all these cells in this list and close bracket, we will press enter. Here you can see number of cells in first list are 15, and here using counter function we will use counter function, and we will select all these number of cells and close bracket, enter. Here you can see this also calculates these are 15 cells, means this first list don't show any difference between these two functions. So we will use second list to count number of cells. We will use count function, we will select all these cells. Just a minute, we will, what is happened, okay, we will select all these cells. These all cells are selected and press enter, and this is showing us there are 9 number of cells in this list, but here I think these are 15s also. But okay, let's see, we will use counter function and we will select all these cells and we'll press enter. You can see this is showing us 15 cells. So why this happens? Actually the difference between count function and counter function is count function only counts number of cells that have numbers in it. Here you can see in first list there are all numbers, these are 15, so this is showing us there are 15 cells that have numbers. And counter function calculates or sums number of cells which have numbers as well as alphabets or words. So therefore it is showing here as 15 there are 15 cells in this first list. In second list, as I said, count function just counts number of cells that have numbers in it. Here you can see these numbers are up to 9, mean these are 9s, there are 9 cells that have numbers, and these remaining cells have alphabets. So means this will count function will only count all number of cells from this list that have only numbers. But counter function, as we said, counter function calculates or sums number of cells or counts cells that have numbers as well as alphabets. So it will show us all these cells that have numbers as well as alphabets. So means here this is clear. So let's move toward list 3. We will use here count function and we will select all number of cells in list 3, close bracket, press enter, and now this is showing us 6 cells. So let's move toward counter function, then we will see why this is showing us 6 cells. So counter function, in counter function we will select all these cells, press enter, and this is showing us 11 cells. But here you can see these all cells are same as 15 cells. Why this count function is showing us only 6 cells and counter function showing us only 11 cells? Here the thing is, count function counts only cells that have numbers. It will not even count cells that are without anything. So this will count only these numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These all cells have numbers. and these remaining three cells between these three cells are without anything, so this will count only these cells that have numbers, and remaining cells you can see are with alphabets, so it will show us only those cells that have numbers, and these cells are only 6. So in case of counter function, as we said, this will calculate, or this will count number of cells that have alphabets as well as numbers. This will also will not count cells that are without anything. So means when it will count these cells, this will not count these blank cells 1, 2, 3, 4. As these are 15 cells, so this will minus these 4 cells and will count remaining cells. So it will show us only 11 cells. So means in if we short in short, if we say count function just counts number of cells that have numbers in it, and counter function will count cells that have numbers as well as alphabets, and both these functions will not count function cells that are without anything or blank cells. So, there are some of my friends also would have idea about using these functions, but there are most of people are always confused between this count function and counter function. Maybe now you have seen this, now you have watched this tutorial, but later on you will forget what was the difference between count function and counter function. To make it easy for you to remember it, let me tell you just count function and counter function. You can see in counter function a is extra than count function, so you just remember counter function is something extra than count function. So in short, if we say counter function also do something extra than count function, so you should remember, when you will keep this thing in your mind, whenever you will see these both functions, you will see, you will say this counter function is something extra than count function. So you will immediately you will remember, yes, counter function also do something extra than counter function. It not only counts cells that have numbers, it also counts cells that have alphabets or words also. So friends, this was our tutorial about count function and counter function. If you like this tutorial, please don't forget to give thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe our channel, and also comment below if you don't understand anything in this tutorial. And at last, thanks for watching. Okay, bye bye.